Hello and welcome to Dr. Fitness USA, the show. Exercise is medicine, strength training is stronger medicine. With your host Batista Gramode and myself, Stephen Hersey, aka Dr. Fitness USA.
By expanding our vision of exercise, we interface it with medicine and business, bridging the gap between fitness, business, and medical professionals.
The show is designed to uplift and inspire a world of healthier and stronger people.
Click the link to subscribe and never miss an episode because
if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it,
then Dr. Fitness USA, the show, will inspire you to achieve it. Subscribe now. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Dr. Fitness USA's show. Today, we have an incredible guest for you that is going to make you cry. You're going to be heartbroken, and you are also going to get a lesson in true love and compassion, and it's going to give you a lot of hope for humanity. Our guest today is Pavel Ythjall.
That's right. That's perfect, Batista. Perfect.
Is it okay?
That is perfect.
Pavel is the CEO of the Fighter Diet Company. He is the #1 best-selling author of the book True Love and the producer of the upcoming documentary Moment of Impact. Pavel, we are so honored to have you today on the Dr. Fitness USA show.
Thank you so much, Batista. Thank you so much, Stephen. I'm honored to be here. I'd like to start by saying I understand that you brought me on your show to talk about the book and talk about the weight of strength training and muscles. And it's funny, it didn't catch me until I talked to you last time, Batista, that I came over to America 10 years ago as a fitness photographer, and I've always loved muscle. That's been my forte to photograph, and I came over and got hired pretty fast for Muscle and Fitness and Flex, but they only had men in the magazines, so I made it my mission to shoot women. So I shot my ex-wife, Pauline Ordine, who is a famous fitness model. I showed it to Chris Hobrecker, which was he was the boss at the time, and he loved it, and he put it in Flex magazine. And from that point on, we had a monthly cover with women muscle. So I've always liked muscle. So it just dawned on me last time I talked to you guys that wow, this is perfect. So, and I love it in the way that I love a Greek statue. I admire the discipline and the dedication and all that goes into it, the effort. So yeah.
So that would explain why muscles are important to you.
Yeah, it's both from an aesthetic point of view, and then later in life, and especially after the accident, which I'm sure I'll tell you about more, it became a lifesaver. It literally saved my life. Muscles literally saved my life when my bones were cracked and wouldn't hold up anymore. So yeah.
Let's back up a little bit. So you came to America from where are you from originally?
From Sweden.
Sweden. So you came to America as a famous fitness photographer, and I hear you started the Fighter Diet Company, and then you got married to the love of your life. Then what happened?
Yep. Just a footnote. Pauline Ordine, my ex-wife, she is the founder of the Fighter Diet Company, but I help her run it. So what happened is I met the love of my life, Catherine Portillo. I was highly into fitness for the photographing for Flex and Muscle and Fitness. She was a major in the Air Force, and she was a triathlete. She was an IFBB bikini pro. She was a Century bicycle rider. So she was just an all-out athlete. So we connected in the athletic spirit. And plus she was a beautiful, gorgeous Latina. So how could I not like her? So that was happy. So it was beautiful from the first start. It was just a match made in heaven. You know, we're both looking for family. Like I had a so-so upbringing, and her upbringing was terrible. She was raped multiple times. She was adopted, sent off to the U.S. Air Force all alone. Just a horrific childhood. So we were both looking for security and safety, and we found that in each other. So, yeah.
So what I'd like to know is what actually happened a year later
Right.
that asked for you to have the most courage that anyone could have.
Thanks, Stephen. Yeah, we were on our way to a Christmas party in Laguna Beach, and I had a Range Rover, a pretty sturdy car, and we drove up on the 405. And as I drive up onto the 405, it's we don't see anything, but the whole car all of a sudden just shakes. So it's like a big boom. It shakes, and the car starts drifting, and I hold on to the steering wheel, and I'm not a big guy, but I'm strong, and I hold on, and it goes like this. So, and I can't control it. So after a while, we would drift onto the side of the road, and we'll hit a street sign, one of those big signs that says Hollywood 50 miles or so forth. When we hit it, boom, I smash my head into the windshield this way, boom. And I remember thinking, this is gonna hurt. And when I smashed it, that's when I broke basically everything. So I broke my skull, the base of my skull, broke my C1, which is the top vertebrae, which controls the breathing. And then we started to roll. I don't remember the roll. I just remember waking up upside down. So the car rolled 3 times, landed upside down on Cat's side. And that's when I woke up hanging upside down and just, pissing blood everywhere. And I looked over at my wife, Cat, and she had that Air Force spirit. She was really cool. But she said, like, hon, I broke my arms. You got to go get help. I broke my arms, because that's what she thought she had, because she couldn't move. So I'm dizzy, I'm disoriented, and obviously concussion and everything. So I crawl out of the car, more fall out of the car. So the windshield is cracked. So I fall out of the cracked windshield onto the ground. And I should have died right there and then, because my head was literally like a little bobblehead. But I didn't. And Kat again said very calmly, but more fiercely, go and get help, go and get help, while she is just bleeding out from her leg, which is broken. So I go, and there's no one. I wave my hands on the 405. There's no one stopping. So at that point, I just took the decision that Cat was worth dying for, so to speak. It sounds melodramatic and so forth, but at that moment, it was like do or die, because I could feel myself fading. I didn't know what was wrong, but you blood everywhere, you have glass everywhere, and you feel your spirit. It's sort of leaving your body. You have only so much time. So I went straight out onto the 405, onto the highway, trying to hail down a car. And they swerved around me, but no one stopped. At that point, I was very close to giving up. But then I don't know who this person was. Maybe it was an angel, maybe it was a vagabond, maybe it was a drifter. But someone in a blanket came up to me and asked me if I needed help. And I screamed, call 911, call 911. Some time passed, and then they came, the ambulances, the police, and everybody. So I have yet to meet that person or that angel that saved us, but someone did save us. I do credit Kat for everything, though, because she was the one who, I was so disoriented from breaking everything inside that I just didn't know what to do. But Kat put me straight. It's like, Pavel, go get help. Go get help. So that the military training in her made me do that. So
before the accident happened, you did get married to enhance your love for her. Could you add something to what happened to bring that marriage that lasted only a year before the accident happened?
Yeah. So yeah, we have only been married 1 year. It was the most blissful year I think both of us had. We'd found security and safety in each other's arms, literally in each other's arms, right? And we were both in the peak of our career. I was the #1 fitness photographer in America. She was the major in the Air Force. We had a house in Manhattan Beach. We were just jetting away. We were as happy as can be. We were starting to plan a family. We were going to a Christmas party in Laguna Beach, to our affluent friends. Everything was just rolling the right way. And then this accident happened that basically destroyed everything. And something good came out of it, though, but it took a while for us to get there. So.
When you came conscious, what went through your mind, and what was the extent of your injuries, especially Catherine?
Good question. I was put in an ambulance and then shoveled off to the trauma bay. And in the trauma bay at Long Beach Memorial Hospital, I was still sort of awake, but the nurse, so she took my head and she turned it like this, and it turned okay. So she said, "Well, he's good to go." And then the neurosurgeon came up to me, Dr. Farron, and she yelled at the nurse for moving my head because I could have died a second time right there. And she said, "I'm going to need you to be strong. Your wife is going to be paralyzed for life." So after that, it was like, life literally just goes before your eyes and you have 3 seconds to decide, okay, either I just go down to the abyss, I just like in the abyss of self-pity and never come out, or I courage up and I man up and I do this and I deal with this. And it was literally a split second where I told myself, let's just do this. Let's do this. So I told myself, I have to be strong for Kat. I have to be strong for Kat. So I repeated that 3 days and 3 nights. I'll tell you why it was 3 days and 3 nights, but I repeated it on a loop and I never stopped. So I think that's where the mind muscle connection started to working. Like my mind was telling my body, you got to get strong fast, buddy, because you got to help your wife because she's in big trouble. Because I could still move my hands and feet at that point. It was just, so I could move my hands and feet. So I understood intuitively that at some point down the road, I was going to be okay, so to speak. The reason I wasn't allowed to move for 3 days was that I literally broken everything. So the condylites that keep the head up on the vertebrae and the actual vertebrae were all broken and all the ligaments were torn. So the neurosurgeon said that my head was literally, I was internally decapitated. It was like this. It was just balancing on a string. But luckily for me, none of the nerves were damaged. So everything was broken. The nerves were still intact. But they didn't know what to do with me. So they had me lay still for 3 days and 3 nights with the neck thing on. And that's when I started the mantra, I have to be strong for Kat. I have to be strong for Kat. And that's love. That's
amazing courage. So what I would ask you is, when you saw your wife for the first time and saw the vegetative state she was in, what happened in your mind, or in your heart, so to speak?
It's a tough question. It's a tough question, Stephen, because I still to this day, I've not acknowledged it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think what keeps me going and keeps me driving is that I don't allow myself to think about that. Like I take care of her every day. I see her every day. I do catheters, but I don't allow myself to go down that hole, because if I do, there'll be too much pain. So even right when the neurosurgeon told me you have to be strong, that's when I started being strong. And then I kept at it. I just never went down the black hole, because I knew if I went down, I would not come up. And by that, I mean, just shoot myself or kill myself or just leave. I don't want to take no part of the responsibility. It's just this huge responsibility just came up on your shoulders, and people don't like to talk about that. But you can imagine, like I have a person that can't move. I'm going to take care of her. There is no family, not on my side, and very little on her side. So it can be quite overwhelming. So to be frank, I don't allow myself to cry that much. It's not because I'm tough. It's just, if I start, I don't know when I'm going to stop, if that makes sense. So
yes. What was your visual image when you saw her for the first time?
Yeah, it was terrible. It was awful. She was just intubated, and she had a trach, which means that a machine was breathing for her. They put a little hole in her throat so the machine can breathe in and out, and the machine was feeding her and breathing her. And you to see this strong, beautiful, proud Latina Air Force major in a vegetative state, it was just bad. It was just, I screamed at her. I screamed, "Fight, Kat, fight for us, fight for us." And the nurses, they let me do that. So I stood there above her and screamed at. So.
I understand that you started writing as a way of maybe releasing that pain. Talk about that.
Yeah, Batista, it was pure. It was pure. I want to say despair, more despair and panic. my family lived in Sweden, and for a number of reasons, they just didn't want to help out. Um, my mother apologized to me 6 years after for not helping out. On Kat's side, there were some people helping out, but they lived in Belize and Chicago, so they couldn't really be that much with us. So it was me and Kat, and in the beginning, we had nurses that were paid from the Air Force. So thank God for the Air Force. But even though you have caregivers and nurses, this is like, you need a village. We have a grown-up person that needs help with everything. And at one point, I tried to count how many little tasks. It's thousands of tasks every day. Itch my right, itch my eye, itch my den, do this, get this, that is, need catheter, need bowel care, need it. It's like 1,000 things, like nonstop. And it's an intelligent human, like grown up. It's not a baby. So I was running a fighter diet at the same time. So and the cost, once the Air Force stopped paying for caregivers, the cost would be $132,000 a year for caregivers. So that's just caregivers. Then you got to live somewhere, and then you got to eat. So you can imagine. I saw it, like, I was in despair. So I just screamed on Facebook, like it was the only friend I had. Like I posted and I screamed, and I emptied my soul there. So I guess, Stephen, that's where it came out, in writing. So tears came out there, and people responded. People responded, like strangers, total strangers that had similar experiences came to help, which was just incredible. And that's what the documentary is literally about, just total strangers owning up, coming, offering help, which is beautiful, really. So,
Does she know that you're by her side every moment? Is that love still bonded strongly? And what does your day look like?
Well, let me put it like this: the love was tested. Let me say that. I call it true love for a reason, but God, it was tested, man. I mean, we went down some dark holes, Kat and I. We were screaming some real truths at each other, and stuff you know about your spouse, but you can't say that. We said all that, like all that came out, like everything, like, and over again. And because of real despair, we were just like, we were so hurt, and like the future was gone, and we wanted to turn back time, but we couldn't turn back time, and we turned on each other. So it got bad. It got really bad. But then it turned. So we managed to turn that ship around and find the love. And at first I didn't want to be a caregiver, Stephen. I thought I was this young, cool, hot stud. I had the future laid out for me with my black Range Rover and Rolex watch and working for Muscle and Fitness. I don't want to be bedside 24/7. Like, it was just the opposite to what my life was supposed to be. And obviously Kat's life was not supposed to be bedridden, and she was supposed to be an Air Force major and so forth. So it took a while for us to reframe our minds and not see it as a blessing, but learn to live with it and learn to use what we had and make the best of it. So sorry, I don't know if I answered your question, but
you have answered the question. So what does your day look like?
Well,
we're talking about love and unbelievable turnaround of life. How did the love go stronger in the way that your day rock and rolls?
Yeah, it turns out that caring for someone is really a blessing. It turns out that giving to someone else is really the true meaning of life in my point of view. It took a while for me to get to that point, but once Kat was really brutal. She's like, "What if this was you? What if this was you?" And that got me. It's like, well, shit, what if this was me? Like, what would I want? What would I need? And that it switched me, just like I told myself I had to be strong for Kat. It switched me, and I became instantly super empathetic and super caring. And now I get up 4:00 a.m. in the morning. I work, and then I wake her up at 5:30. I have coffee made. I set her up in the bed. She has a computer with touchscreen. She works for the U.S. Space Force now. She has an iPad. She has a phone, so she's got 3 devices. So give her coffee. We talk a little bit, and then she gets going in with her meetings. When she needs the catheter, I do a catheter, get the urine out, and then a caregiver comes in at 8 o'clock, and then the caregiver does bowel care because that has to be done every day. And then throughout the day, I go from my upstairs office down to Cat. And so it's actually a really good life. We created a really good life for ourselves. And we've actually continued like sort of like a little comeback from 7 years ago. That Cat got a new job for the US Space Force, and I'm back in the game again, doing documentaries and filming and stuff. So
Pavel, you're just amazing. So part of the journey back is, I think at one time you actually were in the wheelchair in the beginning.
Yeah.
How did you get back into your body physically?
yeah, so what they did, I brought a little prop here just to show you guys. So what they did is, this is just the upper part of the prop, but they put this is called a halo.
Whoa.
So what they do is these screws right here. So they've sat me up on the bedside, and then the neurosurgeon, Dr. Farron, came in. She took my hands and she said, "Pavel, be brave." Because normally they do anesthesia, but I was wide awake. So they sat me up, they put this on me, and then they take a regular Home Depot screwdriver and they drill us right into your skull. And while they do it, I have to do this with my hands to make sure that they don't hurt any nerves. While the neurosurgeon squeezes on my head to literally press the head down on the vertebrae. Some medieval shit. Press it right down. So, and I'm doing this, and they're screwing into my head. While they're screwing, they're pumping me full with Novocaine. But first they screw, because they want to see that they hurt any nerves. So that was quite a shock. So after that, I was stuck in this halo for 2 months. Wasn't allowed to weight lift. I was a pretty buff and lean guy when the accident happened. I lost 20 pounds of muscle right off the bat. Not so much because I couldn't weight lift, I think, just because the body needed fuel to heal. It was like I couldn't walk a step without having a Diet Coke or water or something to eat, like a fruit, because it was just, my body was just burning, healing. So I lost 20 pounds fast. Once I was allowed to do like bodyweight squats, that's all I did. I had bodyweight squats, and after a while, I had 5-pound dumbbells. I still did biceps curls outside the hospital, but I was so happy I could do biceps curls. Doesn't matter if it's 5 pounds. I could lift again. I could lift, and I know you both know that how it affects the mind. It's just like a duality, right? You lift, you get happier up here, get happier here, you lift more. So, yeah. So yeah.
So would you say that strength and your knowledge of strength training and you being involved in being physically fit as a habit in your life contribute to saving your life?
Yeah, 100%, Stephen. I think if Kat and I weren't athletes or athletic, we wouldn't be here today, because we were both. Kat was given a 10% chance to survive the first night, 10%. The doctor said actually that I was worse off than Kat, and it sounds horrible for me to say this, but it's the doctor's words, just because the C1 was broken, which controls the breathing. So if the C1 breaks just like a millimeter in the wrong way, you can't breathe anymore. So athleticism absolutely saved us. And then we had I think the mindset of being athletic and being an athlete saved us. Like we fought, we started fighting. I mean, I started fighting in a trauma bay. Like the minute the doctor told me that my wife's going to be paralyzed, I started fighting. Kat started fighting to get off the trach. The minute she realized her situation, she wanted to get out of the trach so she could breathe on her own, so she could talk. So we just started fighting, and I attribute all the weight training to that. So yeah. And then later on, of course, when I took off the halo, I could be more free and just put mass on it again. And it helped me be strong for my wife. Like physically, I carry her everywhere, like at my house. We don't use we get a lift from the VA, but I used to carry her. Like, so I squat down below 19, just pick her up and carry her when she wants to go. So that takes a little bit of a stamina and some mind muscle connection to do that all the time without tearing a hamstring here and there. So yes. Yeah, strength training and muscles are golden. I mean, people don't realize how important muscles are, like, until you don't have them anymore. And if I get going on a little bit of a rant here, my wife obviously don't move, so she lost all her muscles, so she's just bone and ligaments right now. And her shoulders, you can see how the bone they go apart because there's nothing holding them together. So if you want to see how important muscles are, you can look at my wife, and it's that sad. That is a sad sight, and I can speak about it now because it's been 7 years. But you really see how important they are for a functional, moving body. Without them, there is nothing. You can't move. It's just skeleton. It's just bone on bone and ligaments and so.
Dr. Fitness USA's vision is to create a stronger, healthier society of people enjoying vibrant health, unshakable self-confidence, and a sculpted body they'll fall in love with. Our custom-tailored formulas act as the GPS to your ultimate transformation so you can reach your destination faster and safer without injury. The Feminine Body Design program teaches a woman the art of strength training from a female perspective and helps her achieve the feminine physique she always dreamed of having. The Body Design Formula program teaches men to achieve a sculpted, manly physique without injuries. Seniors can tap into the fountain of youth, get a new lease on life, rebuild their strength, and eliminate aches and pains. Those with injuries learn to rehabilitate them, recover mobility, and relieve back, neck, shoulder, and knee pain.
Now, with working with Steven, just in, 4 workouts, I think, so far, if that, I have no pain in my knees like I used to.
Suddenly a quietness in the mind, clarity.
I mean, I don't have back pain anymore. It's amazing. It's just really amazing.
I'm Bernie Dorman. I'm founder and chairman of CEO Space International, and I so endorse Dr. Fitness for leaders to have better lives. He does the inside and the outside to make sure you're the best leader you can ever be. And yesterday was already too late to say yes.
If your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it, then Dr. Fitness USA can help you achieve it.
This is short of a miracle or amazing. We could say that this is a true life event from tragedy to your triumph over impossible odds.
Yeah. It's, it makes you wonder, Stephen, like, what's the meaning with everything, and how did we make it, and why did we make it? And I got to be honest and tell you that many times I've wondered, like, why did we make it? It might have been easier just to not make it, so to speak, because there's been a lot of misery throughout these years to get to the point where we're at now. Now we're obviously grateful, but I wouldn't want this. Let me rephrase and say it like this: if it was just me who was in the accident, I would want everything to be exactly the same. I have become a better person. I have become empathetic, understanding, and my greatest joy is to help other people not love. Obviously not for Kat. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there is a lot of blessings in what happens. There is, for me. There is some for her, but it's tough when she's paralyzed neck down, so to speak, to speak about blessings. But we've proven our love, and we have a good life, and I know we inspire other people. And so one of my greatest joys, and the reason why I'm so thankful for being on this podcast and talking, is to inspire others and give others strength. And I know they get strength when they read my book. They get resilient. They get hope, because they see that someone else did it. He did it, and then I can do it. And I give them some tips and stuff. So,
Wonderful. Can I ask you to define muscles? Because in the real world, people think of stretching, aerobics, fitness, things like that. They don't really think that they need to go to an environment that actually has weights, and they need to learn how to use them to actually develop real muscle. Running and conditioning like that isn't really the same as having real muscles. So a lot of people don't find that very important. They think, oh, I don't need muscles, but really we do to function properly.
Yeah, Stephen, you know more about this than I do, but yes, we absolutely do, and we need to load the skeleton. Like, we need to load the skeleton for the skeleton to stay strong, and we need to load the skeleton, to load the muscles for them to grow and stay there. Otherwise, they disappear. Like, it's ephemeral. We need to constantly take care of them. I would not be able to take care of my wife if I didn't have muscles. I wouldn't be able to lift her if I didn't have muscles. I wouldn't be able to function as well as I do if I didn't have muscles. And I do that. I have a rogue rack in my garage, a complete barbell and all kinds of plates, just so it's close to me, and so I'll never skip a gym session. I can go out there in the morning, in the evening, in the night, whenever I want to, and I do. I never skip a session because it's so close to me. So for me, it's been life-saving. And women especially get scared of muscle. They think it's lift the weight and they're going to get big muscles, and we all know that it takes a lot to even get a little bit of muscle. So I wish. So yeah, so women especially should lift heavy, not be afraid of muscles. If they lift heavy and they eat right, they'll get toned and they'll look the way they want, and they'll have a healthy, strong, beautiful body, so to speak. And I think we shouldn't be afraid to say that either, that muscles are beautiful. I really think there's an aesthetic value. Like there's a reason why we have Greek statues looking the way they do. They're not fat, they're not blobby, they're powerful, they're admirable. There's a reason why they're like that. They're warriors. So
yeah.
You
So that's
answered that.
great.
Wait a second. You answered that perfectly, except can you expand on, to get muscles, you actually have to lift weights. But that's something that's not defined. Okay, I get muscles, but the person at the other end, will modify this, is they don't know that they actually have to lift weights.
yes, Steve.
They might be involved in all these fitness activities or bands at home, but they actually have to lift physical weights, heavier weights, as time goes on, to heavier weights to actually acquire muscles. So lifting weights equals strong muscles.
Yeah, I have a complete home gym in the garage where I lift weights. I lift heavy weights, and the heavy weights break down my muscles and they build them up with food, and I get a little bit bigger. And that's a process that keeps on going every day. And I enjoy the process. There is joy in the suffering. There's joy in the suffering of working out, if that makes sense. Like there's a happiness in the pain of working out. I know this might sound a little off for some, but try it. You might like it, and you might like how you feel after you work out. You get the endorphin rush and you just feel powerful. There's something special about feeling powerful. And that you get by working out with weights and heavy weights. No green, blue dumbbells. Take the black strong ones.
Yeah, one of the major misconceptions that we get when we talk to people is this lightweight, high reps, or I do yoga, I'm fine, or I walk my dog. So that's one of the message that we want people to know, is that you do have to pick up weight, and women heavy weight. I leg press 650 pounds. Yes, sir. I make the boys cry. So, and last time I checked, I didn't look like a guy. So
yeah, I was a photographer for Muscle and Fitness and Flex, and I shot all the most beautiful athletic women in the world, and the bikini girls even. They're so petite and they're so beautiful, but they're strong and they lift heavy just to even get that little amount of muscle. So people should not be afraid of lifting heavy. They should embrace it under controlled circumstances, obviously, but it brings so many health benefits, like lowers blood pressure and keeps you mentally stable, I feel. And certainly in these times, which are kind of unruly and so forth. So it keeps you mentally grounded.
Was good nutrition a part of your recovery?
That's a good question, Batista. I did and I didn't, and I'll tell you all about it. So since I work with a company called Fighter Diet, I had some knowledge about what good nutrition was. So I understood that in order to heal, I had to work out as much as I could and allowed, but I also had to eat right. And I did. I had more or less only vegetables and lean proteins, but I did have quite a lot of whiskey in the evenings just to be able to sleep. So this is like, I'm out of the hospital, I'm alone, it's Christmas, my wife's paralyzed, I'm had a halo on, it's bleeding every day from all the holes in my head. So it's quite miserable. So I ate healthy, but I had whiskey just in order to sleep, just to don't let my mind go crazy. Once I was able to take the halo off and I was able to weight lift more, get all the stress out in lifting, then the whiskey get lower and the weights get more. So it was like a little pendulum there. So, but yeah, the diet was important. It really was important to nourish your body the right way. And the neurosurgeon, Dr. Farron, said she meets 6,000 patients every year. 6,000. She said she had never seen anyone heal up as fast as I did. And I'm not saying that because I'm some sort of superhero. That's not it. But I did the right things. I ate right. I got sleep, even though it was vodka induced. I got sleep, and I worked out as much as I could. And that was the trinity to get strong fast.
Okay, so now you're doing a documentary. So you are in some ways having to relive the experience. How does that affect you now?
Yeah, that's correct. It's really, I realized that there were so many people that helped us that I never got to say thank you, because I've been so busy taking care of myself to be able to take care of Kat. So it's been all consuming. The book was a good therapy for me, and once that got out and became a bestseller, I realized, oh, there's a need here. This the kind of stuff is needed. That not that many people write about this. I call the documentary about the people that helped us a love letter. So it's a love letter to my heroes, and I wanted to tell the world a little bit about them, why they helped, because I found that interesting. Like, why would they see something on Facebook and then reach out, message me, and offer to come and help, and like help be with Kat, help bathe Kat, help make dinner, help stay. I mean, why would someone do that? So that's what I'm trying to examine a little bit, and also I reconnected with the doctors and let them have their say on what really happened, and some stuff came out, and I'm glad they didn't tell me at the point where the accident happened and so forth. So, but it's a love letter to our heroes. That's what it is.
Okay. Uh-huh.
And then we're doing a feature film, if I can just put that in there. We have a screenplay ready, and we want to do a film dramatization of the book. So the documentary is a little practice run to do a feature film, which will be a true love story, Stephen. The story, just as you described it, that against all odds, we made it, and we a true love story. That's
So, Pavel, I understand that you have a gift for our audience. Can you talk about that?
Yes, Batista and Stephen, I have 10 free copies of my book, True Love and Suffering. So the first 10 people that email you guys will get the book mailed to them. So I'm hoping that can be a good gift.
Great, thank you. I'm sure that this will touch a lot of people. It's a really true message of hope and love and overcoming challenges. So do you have like 3 or 4 takeaways for people that you want to leave them with?
Yes, I do, Batista. I have four good takeaways. So what I've learned through this journey is, I'll start with muscles then. I really feel that physical activity is super important for your health. If something like this were to happen, it'll help you on all different levels. So yes, so we're going to say muscles is number one. And then we have friends, family, and love. It sounds like a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, right? It is what everyone is looking for and what everyone wants. And for what it's worth, I found all 4 of them through the accident. So there were blessings. Friends, family, love, muscle.
Wow. Amazing.
It's been wonderful. Actually, I have to say that after reading your story, I got very emotional, and it enhanced my relationship with Batista, that I ought to be even 1,000% more grateful that not only do I have a sensational wife that leg presses 650, that I ought to look at her as the day begins when she wakes up. That's the sun shines, and I have a lot of more compassion towards just life in general, or people, just by The short I'm saying is your story has inspired me to be a better person. For sure.
Thank you, Stephen. Thank you. I mean, that means a lot. It means more than you. It means more than you think. I had another husband from Belize saying the exact same thing. He said, "Pavel, I have a better marriage due to your book." That means a lot. And we've spoken once before, Stephen, and you said that sometimes you just lay next to your wife and listen to her breathing. And I thought that was so poetic and beautiful because I do the same thing. I obviously can't move. So it's up to me to squeeze myself really tight. So I squeeze myself tight to her neck where she can feel me. And we just lay there and we can feel each other's lungs and we can hear each other breathing. And I mean, if that's not love and life, I don't know what is, So thank you.
Wow.
Stephen.
How would you like people to reach you? I know you have a documentary, you offered the book. So is there a place where people can find you and support you, read your story, or get in touch with you? Where would that be?
truelovethebook.com, True Love the Book. That if you Google that, then I'll come up or True Love and Suffering on Amazon, and then it comes up on Amazon. So, and if people purchase the book, the proceeds goes to CAT. It goes 100% to CAT. So we've after 7 years we've managed to handle the nurse costs, but there's a future, and we're trying to save up for an uncertain future too. So if you want to do a good thing, you can buy a book and support CAT. So.
That's great. And how people would find out about your documentary when it comes out? Where will they find out about that?
truelovethebook.com again. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that is where most of it action happens. And so
okay.
Thank you so much for talking to me. I mean, you guys are sweethearts. You really are. Yeah, I mean, you really are. I mean, you're sweethearts. You're tough people. I know you're tough people, but I think some of the toughest people are also the most empathetic people. They they're tough for a reason, and they can allow themselves to be empathetic and caring and talk about love and feelings, and you do, and I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Wow.
Pavel, do you have any last words?
True love for everyone. That's my last word.
Beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for being our guest on the Dr. Fitness Show, Dr. Fitness USA Show.
Thank you so much for being here and inspiring us and our audience.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye now.
Hello and welcome to Dr. Fitness USA, the show. Exercise is medicine. Strength training is stronger medicine. With your host, Batista Gramode, and myself, Stephen Hersey, aka Dr. Fitness USA.
By expanding our vision of exercise, we interface it with medicine and business, bridging the gap between fitness, business, and medical professionals.
The show is designed to uplift and inspire a world of healthier and stronger people.
Click the link to subscribe and never miss an episode, because
if your mind can conceive it and your heart can believe it,
then Dr. Fitness USA, the show, will inspire you to achieve it. Subscribe now.